Welcome everybody, Steve here. Today, do something a little bit different. I am going to build a router sled. Now, put a lot of thought into this. I've looked at some online and they're pretty fancy, but I just want something simple. But I want something that's going to be fairly rigid and I don't have to worry about it. I want to be able to, bring it up and down. So this is what I am thinking. So what I'm going to use is I got some 1 inch by, I don't know, this is 100 wall I think. So that's going to be my rail. I'm going to have 2 of them, of course. I've got a bench about this size that I'm going to use. It's got a wooden top. It's about the flattest top I've got in my shop anywhere. So I want to build a rail, and on the ends, what I want to do is I want to come up, and then I'm just going to use a 1/2 inch piece of ready rod, and then that's going to be my adjustment for up and down. I know, but I got to keep it as simple as I can. So what I'm going to do, I've got this. I could drill a hole through here, but I hate drilling holes. So I got a little piece of 3/4 inch thin wall. And basically my ready rod's going to go through. I want a little bit of slack so that it's not going to bind up really easy on me. So I'm just going to take like a little 2-inch piece and I'm going to weld it on the ends, just like that. Maybe a little bit bigger than 2 inch. That way I can really get it square. I'll think about that. Anyway. That's my thinking. So my bench is 42 inches, so I want to utilize the whole width. Maybe I'll go 40 inches, and then what I want to do, I'll probably go to 42. And I'm going to put a little pad on the bottom here, and then I'm just going to use this. I've got some old, looks like 2 by 1/4 inch. Just going to weld that onto there. And it'll be big enough that if I want to, I could screw it into my top, or my tops, I've got a bit of an overhang, I could just clamp it. And that's probably what I'm going to do. So once I've got my rail, one on either side, then my next step is to build a wooden sled. And I'm just going to keep it very simple. Just going to be a piece of plywood with a groove in it. And then bang bang, just so that it slips over top. This isn't rocket science. You just have to, you have to make sure that your router's in the right spot so that you can go back, come back, and then move it over a little bit more, do another swipe. So, yeah, I don't want to overthink this. I don't want to have something that has, the little micrometer, reading on it or anything like that. I'm just going to go plain old school, simple. Well, simple in my mind. I could build this out of a piece of 2x4, and that'd be fine and dandy too, but I want to be able to bring it up and down. So I got to take it to the next level. And since I haven't done a welding project for a while, decided that I'm going to build it out of steel. And then that way I know that, this is going to be it's going to remain fairly straight and rigid. You don't have to worry about it warping. And since it's just going to be 2 rails, and it's hanging on the wall, stick it in the shed, it's not going to be that big of a deal. Alright, let's get started. This is a little bit too small. I'm going to have to cut a couple there. But I do have some more material, so yeah. Let's do some math, and then we'll get on to the cutting. So what I'm going to do is, on my little foot here, of course you got to weld this on there like that. That's tough to do, so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to actually drill a 1/2 inch hole through here. I'll put a nut on there, that way I can just kind of put it up against there and I'll just plug weld it from the back side. You know. Guy could, no. You probably could thread that as well. No, just going to plug weld it. Keep it as simple as you possibly can. If you start, you know, threading things and then putting little micro adjusters in there, it starts to complicate the math. And hey, we're not interpreting a poem here. We're just going to keep it as simple as we possibly can. So I'm going to drill a 1/4 inch hole, stack these, drill another 1/4 inch to the other ones, and then I'll finish it with a 1/2 inch. Well, change plans. No, it's the same plan. It's just that when I got this from my little brother, I'm looking at it going, oh, that's just 1/2 inch, but it's not. It's 9/16. And I like it better because it fits better in my square tubing the way I want it to. But I bought a piece of 9/16 and bought a piece of 1/2 inch, so I've got it in stock. Yeah, you never know, eh? Alright, so if you want to, you know, I'm gonna weld these on here just so that I got something there for my my ready rod. I could just drill a hole in here. That would be fine too. But I don't know. I gotta have some sort of design thing going on, so I'm gonna just do this. I might get a little straighter, who knows. Anyway, that's my thinking. So I guess the next step is to weld on these. And what I'm going to do is just put a nut on that side, slam it in there, and give myself a little room, and then I'll plug weld that. I just put a nut on the end there. That'll help you get it as straight as you can. And then we'll just make sure that it's really straight before we finish it off. I got my whip kind of amongst the feet here. Just a hair more. Pretty good there. Really, really good there. Okay, that one's ready to go. We can weld him up now. Okay, I got it set up here. Looks pretty good. And I just used a piece of square tubing. Now make sure your piece of square tubing is square. Some of the stuff that you get across the pond, it's not square. So make sure that you've got a square chunk, or else this is just a waste of time. But I checked it, it's square, so now I can weld her up. Well, I'll tack it up for now. I think you can probably get the whole idea here now. So let me screw these on here. Get them kind of close. And that's going to go like that. And of course, these can, you know, they can go this way, they can go that way. However, you're gonna clamp it down. I'm basically going to clamp mine like this on my table. And there. The nice thing about steel, it's not going to bend down on you. This looks pretty rigid. I think that guy could probably go about another foot before you get any flex in there, but you're still not pushing down that much anyway. So, unless you get a bent piece of angle iron and then you're kind of hooey. Should have looked. That looks pretty good. And then these, well, the reason I built these up a little higher is so I could get, you know, a piece of square stock on here to make sure they're nice and square. You can cut that off. You don't even need to have it that high. But it's a stop, you know, for your sled. You know, if that's a concern. This is exciting. Just like that. Now, I'm going to build my sled for my table. So, I'll get it all set up, take some measurements and figure out what I want. And then it's just going to be a simple plywood sled. And I'm just going to be able to slide along these rails. And I'm good. Of course, you know, I might as well do this now. Because I'll need them. And then they're always there. And you can get the adjustment idea. If you can't, well, you should be operating power tools anyway. So the next time you see me, be in my other shop, we'll be building us a sled. This is one of those little goals that I had this year. And I'm happy halfway there. Well, I'm just cutting up all the pieces here for the sled. So basically what's going to happen, I'm just going to screw those on like that. And I went with 2" on the sides, you know, make sure it gives it some rigidity so that, you know, my sled's not going to give her one of these. And then on the front, as a stop, I'll just put a little piece of 1.5 or so, right about there. That might be a little bit too much, but I'm going to screw these things in, so if I have to take them off, not a big deal. So this is this particular piece of plywood that I've got here is finished, and I'm going to add a little bit of glue. I'm just going to take a little bit of 80 grit, just kind of scuff it up where I'm going to glue it. I know that I'm going to screw it, but you'll see my method here in a second. You'll understand why I'm going to glue it. Just like that. Alright, let me get set up. Be right back. I'm just looking at my table here, and I thought, oh, this is a pretty warped piece of wood. But it's this thing. It's just there to work on. I don't get too excited that it's a little bit crooked. Alright, so what I'm going to do, oh, let me get my hose here ready. So normally if I'm putting something together and I got to screw it together, you don't need too much glue. You just need a little dab will do ya. And then what I'll do is I'll nail it together. And then when it's all set up, then I'll drill some holes, countersink them, throw a couple screws in. Perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to the edge here, and this will probably be far enough, Just going to draw a mark there. Actually, let's draw it here. Just iron it up, and then what we're going to end up doing here, now I'm going to use probably, let me take a look and see what kind of bit I'm going to use. I do have a 3/4 inch straight cutting bit. So if I make my groove 7/8, that'll give me a little bit of room, so I'm not going to be bumping up against the side. You don't want to do that. You want to make sure you got a full, easy pass, because if your router blade catches something, it's going to grab and just make your life uncomfortable. That's not much fun. All right, I need a straight edge, and what I use for that, I just use a piece of flooring transition. It's usually pretty straight. That's not bad. Alright. I'll have to do some arithmetic here. And then 7/16 over. So there you go, that's the groove I got to cut in there. So I'll probably use my hole saw right off the bat, or a Forstner bit, and then from there I'm just going to use my jigsaw. Now I've got to put these little cleats at the end here. That's going to be my stop, or that's how it rides along the rail. It's going to end up being perfect. We've got to figure out exactly where it needs to be, but I will do that. That takes a little bit more math. But first, let's drill a couple holes in here. Let's cut that groove. Actually, I know what's going to happen. I'm going to try and go as slow as I can to go through there, and it's going to go wham and make a mark on my top. So I don't mind if I sacrifice that guy. Yeah, I did it. Should be drilling these holes from the other side so I don't get so much blowout, but it's just a sled. Now I got a couple pieces because I know that my blade is just touching the bottom. So make sure that you look so you don't damage your work surface. There you go, you got yourself a groove. Now, if you're one of those guys that wants everything to be absolutely perfect, and you know, you're concerned about, you know, image, you could run that on a dado, drop that down and run a dado, and cut it out like that. One more piece. Just got to cut these things now. I'll probably cut them with the jigsaw, so I don't have to set up another saw. But we just need a bit of a stop here now. One off of this end. Now this is going to be a little tough. I may have to clamp that on there. I think so. Let me get me a clamp. You'll see in a minute. Just about done. Not too much glue on that. That's good. It's always how much is the right amount of glue? The right amount. You don't want to go too little or too much. Got my rails clamped down to my bench. Perfect. Before I use it, I'll probably give this a little bit of a wax, you know, so we're not binding up. No, that works good. Could be just a little bit tighter, but we can adjust that. Let's bring this over a bit more. Bring this one over. That's nice. Perfect. Well, there you have it. My simple sled, it's all done. Now I just gotta try it out. Now I've got a couple projects on the go here. Cutting boards, of course. That's gonna be kind of your main purpose of a sled. You know, using rough lumber, and you can't run them through the planer because the grains are going, you know, end grain or grains are going opposite ways. So that's why you have to use a router sled. I've never used one before, so I'm looking forward to it. So until next time, hey, if you have to build a router sled, pull a couple ideas from here, come up with a few of your own, and work some magic. So until next time, thanks for watching.